Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Train Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for post Battles of Legend Heroes Revenge. Wanted to do an update to the Train deck. I've been actually testing out the deck a lot. Very happy with the results, and with the release of Heroes Revenge, we actually got a new Link monster that definitely does help to support the Train deck overall. Double-headed Anger Knuckle. It is a consistent Train support, I would say, since it requires using level 10 machine monsters, which are the majority of the Train monsters, and the main focus of the Train deck is to get out the rank 10 Train monsters to burn away at your opponent for big damage, or just swing into them with massive attack of your machine monsters. It's a really fun deck if you're looking to build a powerhouse deck at that. But let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So to start off for the main deck, I run 3 Super Express Bullet Train. Cannot declare an attack unless you send 2 other cards you control to the graveyard. You can only use each of the effects of Super Express Train Bullet once per turn. If all monsters you control are Earth Machine, minimum 1, you can special summon this card from your hand. And during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you could target 1 machine monster in your graveyard except for Super Express Bullet Train and add it to your hand. So you have easy special summon consistency with Bullet Train from your hand, making it so you can get out your Exceed monsters very easily. And then you just have that graveyard search effect, which definitely does help for your graveyard for consistency, adding cards back to reuse again next turn for your play. So you definitely have to run 3 of this card just for the easy special summon you can do with it, and then just for the additional search you could do at the end of the turn with it also. And I also run 3 Night Express Knight with this one. It cannot be special summoned from the deck. You can normal summon this card without tributing, but its original attack becomes 0. So what's great about this card, obviously with the deck, is the fact that you can summon this, then easily special summon out your Bullet Train, and then overlay the 2 cards for your Exceed right then and there, which we run a good amount of rank 10 cards in the deck to keep things consistent with your plays. So I like to run 3 of this, just so you have a good chance of opening up this and a Bullet Train in your hand to do your plays with. And I also run 3 Heavy Freight Train Derrick Rain with this one. If an Earth Machine monster is normal or special summoned to your field except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand, but its original attack and defense become half. You can only use this effect of Heavy Freight Train Derrick Rain once per turn. If this card is detached from an Exceed material and sent to the graveyard to activate that monster's effect, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. So just the consistency that you can special summon the trains out along with Derrick Rain's own effect and give you another monster onto the field to use is a big part of the deck for sure, but also just having that pop effect, because most of the time you're going to go for one of your big train plays and then go after your opponent, and especially with ones like Juggernaut, you have so many options to go for, and the extra pop that Derrick Rain can do and just the additional setup this card can do with your different trains is an all added bonus, and why I run 3 of this as well. Just the different 3s gives you all the consistency since they all run very, very well together. And I also run 3 Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. With this one, if this card is normal or special summon, you can target 1 Earth Machine monster in your graveyard except for Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. Special summon it in defense position, but negate its effects. You can target 1 other face-up monster you control. The level of that monster or this card become equal to the level of the other. You cannot declare an attack for the turn you activate this effect, except with Exceed monsters. You can use each effect of Flying Pegasus once per turn. But the fact that you're limited with the Exceeds isn't really that big a deal, since that's what you're going to be attacking with most of the time anyway, since all of our other monsters that we usually special summon out, either have 0 attack, or even, not being able to attack without sending out big costs to get it to attack. So overall, this card's level adjustment definitely does come in handy, just to adjust its own level to 10, so then you have more options. So with each of these monsters, you should at least have some sort of play to get out a rank 10 monster to the field. And lastly, for the train monsters, I also run 3 Ruffian Railcar. Once per turn, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this effect. And during the end phase of this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add 1 level 10 Earth Machine monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Ruffian Railcar once per turn. So the burn happens to be a good effect, just for the resolution of if you need to have more life against your opponent, depending if you go into time or not, but just having another monster to use for your your effects on the search for your monsters to add a level 10 Earth Machine monster from your deck to your hand definitely does come in handy as well. And the battle restriction isn't that big of a problem for the fact that a lot of your different train monsters in the extra deck also do burn damage against your opponent to dwindle them down, along with Ruffian Railcar. And additional support, just to reshuffle back, I run 2 Exodius, the Ultimate Forbidden Lord. This one definitely does help when you use up all your train resources. They're in the graveyard. To shuffle them back to special summon this level 10 monster definitely does help for your Exceed plays, but also gives you your resources back in the deck for you to use later on also. Because you have plenty of rank 10 Exceed monsters that you want to make out with in this deck to use, but you also want to have options to reuse them since you only have so many of your level 10 and other machine monsters to use. And lastly, I also run 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, just more search hand traps to prevent your opponent from searching out their cards or sending to the graveyard. It's my preferred hand trap for the deck, but if you want to try out Ghost Ogre or Effect Veiler, you can swap these cards out for those. If you want to drop any of your numbers of Ruffian Railcar, you could drop this card maybe down to 2 and then try a 2 Ghost Ogre, 2 Ash Blossom, or 2 Ash Blossom, 2 Effect Veiler matchup as well, depending on the amount of hand traps and which ones you want to run in the deck. But that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. I run 3 Urgent Schedule. This one's probably the best spell in the deck to use. With this one, if your opponent controls more monsters than you, special summon 1 level 4 or lower and 1 level 5 or higher Earth Machine monster from your deck in defense, but negate their effects. You cannot declare attacks this turn you activate this effect except with machine monsters. And if this set card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 level 10 machine monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Urgent Schedule once per turn. So you get your special summon options with this card, and you have plenty of level 4 and level 10 options for the special summon and plenty of other ones in your hand to use afterwards for an easy special summon onto the field for your train monsters. But the set destruction also does come in handy for that search if your opponent does destroy this card. Since it is a quick play, you can easily resolve the other effect then after its destruction and get the search as well. And I also run plenty of 3-ofs in this deck just because everything runs very well together. 3 Special Schedule. You target 1 machine monster in your graveyard with 3,000 or more attack and special summon that target in face-up defense. You can only activate 1 Special Schedule per turn, and if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target 1 level 10 machine monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So more recycle with this card, but also just being able to special summon one of your machine monsters, which then you can even go for some of the bigger Exceed ones that you have in your graveyard, special summon them, and then use them as well to special summon out some of your other ones like Juggernaut and Leap onto the field. And I also run, for the field spell, Revolving Switchyard. I run 3 of this. If a level 10 Earth Machine is normal or special summon to your field, except during the damage step, you can activate this effect. Your opponent takes no battle damage for the rest of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. Also, you special summon 1 level 4 Earth Machine monster with 1,800 or more attack from your deck. If you do, it becomes level 10. And you can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to add 1 level 10 Earth Machine from your deck to your hand. You can only use 1 Revolving Switchyard effect per turn, only once per turn. So you have the level special summon of what you want out onto the field, or the search. It's up to you. You can even set up your graveyard with this card. So it's very, very helpful there. I decided not to run the Terraforming just for the fact that we have the 3 of search with this card. For consistency, should be enough for you to open up with. If you wanted to run Terraforming, I'll show what card you can drop for Terraforming search if you want later on. I run 3 Limiter Removal as well, just another boost up card for your different machines that you run in the deck for power base, especially with your Exceed monsters when you're going for the big attack. And also I run 3 Pot of Desires just because we run lots of 3-ofs just to keep the draw consistency going with the deck as well. If you aren't a big fan of Desires, want to cut it down to 2, this could be the spot for your additional Terraforming for your Revolving Switchyard search. And I also run the 1 Monster Reborn, just that 1 special summon can definitely help for a lot of your different train plays on the field if you're short 1 level 10 monster for your plays. And also the 3 Call by the Grave, just to stop your opponent from stopping your own special summons to the field with this card, definitely does come in handy. And I also, just for the traps, I'm down to 1 Barrage Blast. Once per turn, you can detach any number of Exceed materials from Exceed monsters you control, then target that many cards on the field, destroy them, and if a machine Exceed monster you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect while this card's in your graveyard, you can banish this card and 1 machine Exceeds from your graveyard to inflict damage to your opponent equal to that banished monster's rank times 200. Just additional burn, which can definitely be the game-winning condition against your opponent with this card. It also just has the destruction effect with Barrage Blast on the field. It definitely does does come in handy if you have an Exceed monster that's not doing much else. If you've already used the burn damage with, let's say, cards like Gustav Max, and then since it being a once per turn, you can use the additional for that pop effect with Barrage Blast. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. I run 2 of the new double-headed Anger Knuckle. You need 2 machine monsters to make this. It cannot be used as link material. You can only use one of the following effects of double-headed Anger Knuckle once per turn, only once that turn. During the main phase quick effect, you can send 1 monster from your hand or field to the graveyard, then target 1 level 10 machine monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense, but negates effects. Or if this card is in the graveyard, you can send 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard to special summon this card. Now, the special summon of the level 10 definitely does come in handy since you have other additional resources in your hand that you can summon out and then go for your Exceed play there. But the special summon of this card also gives you the option when it's on the field, that additional arrow to the right, giving you another spot for Exceed monsters, and then also with your extra monster zone for the Exceed monster you may already have on the field. So having Anger Knuckle in the graveyard and able to come back on the field to reuse is a big help, especially for all the different Exceed plays, because you definitely want to have multiple Exceeds out on the field, and I'd say this card definitely does help doing that and being able to then, you know, obviously have this card be destroyed, special summon it somewhere else, giving you another Exceed monster on the field, and so on and so on. And I also run 1 Clifford Genius, just for the special summon. Sometimes with Urgent Schedule, this card can definitely be a big help for sure. And 1 Mrs. Radiant, since we run a good amount of Earth monsters in the deck as well, just for the consistent add back and power boost. And for the Exceed monsters, we've talked about them enough this video. I run 2 number 81 Rail Cannon Super Dora. The protection effect and just the fact that it's a 3200 monster is a big go-to card for sure in the deck. I also run 2 Gustav Max. The 2000 burn damage with this one is another big one to take out your opponent. And I also run the 1 Sky Palace Gangaridai. This one is a good destruction 1000 burn effect of your opponent's cards. It cannot attack the turn you activate this, but then you can easily use your other trains after you use their effects to summon out your big monster, Super Rail Cannon Juggernaut Lieb with this one. Once per turn, you can also Exceed summon this card by using 1 rank 10 machine monster you control as Exceed material, and then they also attach to it. And once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card. It gains 2000 attack and defense. And also for the rest of this turn, you can only declare an attack with this card, and during the battle phase, this card can make an attack on an opponent's monster up to the number of its Exceed materials +1. So a big powerhouse with limited removal. It's even stronger. You can really take out your opponent with it, so quite scary to go up against for sure. And I also run 1 number 27 Dreadnought Dreadnought, another one that you can just place the rank 10s on top of it after it destroys an opponent's monster. You run plenty of level 4s to make use of this in the deck as well when you can with Ruffian Railcar and your Pegasus. And then I also run the number 35, number 84, and number 77 when you can make the rank 10 play and then just overlay into these is another strong powerhouse for sure for the deck. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.